What's up, Lucky Heads? Today I have with me the Fiido Air. It's a carbon fibre electric bike that weighs in at a minimal 13.75 kilograms. That is unbelievably light for an electric bike. So I'm going to be putting it through its paces. I'm going to be letting you know its real world range, how easy it is to build, what's it like on the inclines, all the stuff that you're going to need to know. This is an electric bike built for the city. It is a single speed carbon belt electric bike and it has some really cool techie additions as well. It looks super sleek. I mean, you can see there is absolutely no wiring to be seen on this bike. And here you can see this button is fingerprint activation. There's no display, so it's very sleek, it's very minimalist. You've got your battery integrated into the bike itself and it looks really good. This bike even comes with a smartwatch. There's a lot to cover here, so stay tuned.
Let's talk spec. The Fiido Air is a carbon fibre frame commuter electric bike that weighs in as little as 13.75 kilograms. Depending on what size frame you opt for, this bike can cater between 5'3" to 6'9" riders with a max payload of 120 kilograms. It's a single-speed carbon belt drive setup which is optimised for flatter city commutes, but I will be testing it out on some hills shortly to see how it fares. The belt drive also means minimal maintenance, so you can jump on and go all year round. The MyVise motor is your standard 250 watt in regulation with EU law and is fitted with a MyVise torque sensor for a natural feel of assist. The Air boasts a range claim of up to 37.5 miles, which I will of course be testing myself. Results to come. The battery is a brand that I personally haven't heard of before, but this bike does come with a CE mark, which means it meets the EU safety standards. Brakes are hydraulic with Kenda 7x40C wheels. You also get integrated front and rear lights, a velo saddle, a lovely sounding bell, external hex wrench for adjustments on the go, and a smart watch for the display, which I'll talk about in more detail. Mudguards do not come included and are an additional fee, all for the retail price of £2,545. Now we're familiar with what the Air has to offer, how simple is it to build? I can hand on heart say this has been by far the easiest e-bike to build to date. The box isn't too big, the bike is neatly packaged, but also there isn't loads of excess waste, which is a plus for my bins and the planet. The bike was so easy to lift out the box thanks to its carbon componentry. I can lift this baby one-handed, no problem. Inside the accessories box, you've got everything you need. There's all the tools, plus an instruction manual, the saddle, pedals, and what is this?
What? No.
You get some kind of Apple Watch style bit of tech. More on that shortly. Fiido also offers a video build guide on YouTube, which I way prefer because my brain cannot translate 2D to 3D. So here's the link in the top right hand corner if that's of any use to you. But this was a truly easy build. A quick readjustment of the handlebars, fit the front wheel, and yes, I know I was feeling particularly fruity wearing white to a building session. Fit the saddle, again, so easy. Pedals on with a few tightens and we're good to go. This bike really has the wow factor and I can't wait to ride it. You might have also noticed no kickstand, which I thought was a shame, but a couple of days later it did arrive separately in the post, so thank goodness for that. Fiido also sent me some mudguards, which is great news for me cycling around in UK winter weather. Once the bike was built, I got the bike on charge, got it juiced up, and also downloaded the Fiido app to get the bike connected. Once you're in the app, you set up your fingerprint with a few various taps of whatever finger you opt for to get your print read. Once that happens, the Mate Watch jumps into action as the bike's screen. So let's talk more about the Mate Watch. It's already connected to the bike pre-shipment, so it's ready to go. It can only connect to one bike. It's worth £90 but comes free as a screen for your e-bike, and you get a couple of wrist strap options as well, which I think is nice. It has lots of features like the weather conditions, calories burned, steps, heart rate. You can track your sleep and even read your messages. When your bike is on, the watch turns into a bike screen telling you your speed, battery levels, what assist you're in, plus more in-depth data with a swipe.
So I thought I would give the smartwatch a go with everyday life, and in terms of functionality, it's all right. I wouldn't say it's perfect. This is actually my first experience with any kind of smartwatch, so I have to say I'm not an expert on these things, but I feel like in terms of the actual functionality of itself, it's all right. The step count can be a little bit hit and miss, but I did take it to the gym just to see how it fared with exercise and tracking my heart rate. Now, it did all look good, apart from actually when I was putting my hands down on the floor doing some stretches, and my heart rate seemed to go up to like 170 BPM, which if that is right, then I should definitely go to the doctors, but I don't think that's the case. So yeah, it would only give weird readings when my hands were down on the floor, but otherwise it was tracking my heart rate when I was doing my exercising, and it did seem fairly accurate. So if you're into that kind of thing, I think that's a really nice addition, albeit it is a little bit clunky. But particularly if you're into tracking your stats with your e-bike, then this could be a really fun extra to have that can give you a lot of insight, or at least a general insight. At this point, I know, let's get out on the road and do some testing. However, I just want to quickly show you the setup when it comes to the levels of assist and the power indicator, seeing as we don't have a display on the bike. Now, of course, we do have the Mate Watch, but if you were to be without the Mate Watch, the bike does also give you some indications of where you're at. So here is where the magic happens. This is the sort of replacement for the display. Now you can see at the moment it's glowing red. That means that actually I'm on low battery because I have been riding this bike down. So there are 3 different colours that tell you what level of battery your bike is at. So green is 100% to 60%. Blue means you're at 60% to 40%. And red means 40% to 10%, aka start getting back to get yourself charged up. So when the bike is on, whether you're static or you're riding, those colours will naturally come through after you've set your assist. So let's quickly talk about the assist. So you've got 3 levels. You've got white, which is none at all. Then you've got yellow, which is normal mode. And then purple, which is sport mode. So again, when you're pressing your finger on the fingerprint activation, you'll see the different colors come up, albeit it's a little bit hard to see the colors, but you do feel the change of assist. So this is something that I have gotten used to whilst riding this bike. It took me a bit of time to actually start to really understand it. But now that I am using this daily and know the colors, I actually quite like it. It's just really simplified and nice. Okay, should we go for a ride? Come on, let's go for a ride. I've been riding this electric bike for a while now, and I have to say that it's the one I go to commute home with each night. I always pick this one. I love it so much. It's agile, it's lightweight. The motor and the sensor are both from my Vice, and they just communicate beautifully with one another. The moment you put pressure on the pedal, it just responds beautifully. That torque assist, it just feels so natural, and you feel really lightweight, despite the Newton meters of torque only being 35, which is actually a bit lower than average. But because this bike is so lightweight, it really doesn't feel that it is lower than average. And I have good news for everybody. That fingerprint sensor, I was like, oh, is this gonna work when you've got gloves on? Is this bike gonna be redundant in the winter when you can't have your fingers out? Well, lo and behold, it does change with gloves, thank goodness. I am actually wearing those touchscreen gloves, so maybe that does make a difference, but it works. It's Line Bike Posse. And as you can see here, this bike is so lightweight, I'm able to just to push this bike through and get right past the line bikes, which are obviously much weightier, because these are all limited to 15.5 miles per hour, but when the bike is lighter, it's easier to push through that, get past the pedal assist and get up to some really nice speeds. And remember, this is single speed as well. In a place like London, it works beautifully. I really don't need the gears. It has been working really nicely on some inclines, but I will do a proper hill test shortly, so you can find out more on that one. It's time for the hill test. So I'm at my usual hill where I like to bring my electric bikes to see how they fare on the inclines. Now with this bike, remember, this is a single speed setup with the carbon belt drive. So that means that we just have one gear. Now, obviously when it comes to inclines, when it comes to hills, having more gears obviously is ideal, because then you can switch up the resistance, you can switch up your cadence and obviously get to the top as best you can. Now, because we have an electric motor, that is going to help us get up there. But let's see how it fares with the single speed. Just absolutely no reason why that car should be in London. Anyway, if you guys are finding this video at all useful, please make sure to hit that like button, let me know, and let's find out how this bike fares. So I am in the highest level of assist, that blue level, and let's do this. So because this bike has 35 Newton meters of torque, obviously that's great for a standing start at the traffic lights on a straight, but now when we've got this incline, I'm definitely having to put more weight through my legs to get this bike up to a suitable speed. But because of that single gearing, it definitely is a bit more work going up this hill now. Okay, great, we're at the top. I'm just gonna get out of this person's way. I'm not surprised by that at all. It was a bit more work getting the bike up. As expected, this is definitely a bike built for a place like London where it is mainly flat terrain, not many hills. If you live in somewhere like Sheffield, you might potentially want to not get this bike if you don't really want to end up being a bit sweaty. Say you want to cycle to work in a suit or just some good clothes and not be sweaty by the end of it. That might be a bit of a problem. But this does make climbing hills easier compared to an analog bike, I will tell you that. It's just definitely built more for the flatter terrain. Let's talk real world range. So what are my results? Well, let's quickly remind ourselves of what Fiido claim this bike can do. In sport mode, which I have been cycling in, they claim that you can get up to 32 miles on one charge. And if you're going for normal mode, you can get up to 37.5 miles on one charge. Now in the small print, you'll see that there are lots of perfect conditions to attain these figures. It's a warmer temperature, 26 degrees. They've got an 80 kilogram rider, which isn't the lightest, but isn't the heaviest. So they've definitely optimized their conditions there because, as we know, lithium-ion batteries, they perform better in warmer temperatures. In colder temperatures, like I am riding in, you do get less range. So I've been riding in near freezing temperatures, actually. It's been between 0 and about 4 degrees Celsius on average. I've been riding mainly flats, a few hills, and I weigh 66 kilograms. So that is all gonna affect the result of my range test. So in total, in sport mode, I was able to get 26 miles on one charge. Now let's go into a little bit more detail here. So you know how there's the different colors that show the different percentage of the battery? Well, when I hit the red zone, which is between 40 to 10% battery, that's when things actually started to get a little bit trickier. And actually, as the battery dropped more and more, it felt like less and less assist was coming through. So realistically, once you kind of hit that red zone, you want to make sure that you're starting to get close to home. Otherwise, you're going to be kicking up a bit of a sweat. It was definitely a harder start at the traffic lights. I needed to be up out of my seat because that single speed, well, it's geared to the higher speeds, not these lower speeds. So there was a bit more resistance there. Now, to give you some idea, I actually got about 16 miles in before the bike dropped to that red zone. So you can comfortably ride, at least in my conditions, 16 miles before that assist starts to drop. But remember, if that doesn't sound like enough to you, then you are able to purchase a range extender. You can strap that to the frame of the bike. It costs a few extra £100, but it does guarantee that you're going to be able to do those longer commutes. So to finish off, I want to quickly talk about the pros and the cons of this bike, as I've spent a fair bit of time with it now, so I think I've got a really good overview. So firstly, let's go with cons, why not? Mudguards do not come included, they are an additional extra. So if you live in a place like the UK where it does rain more often than not, you'll have to pay extra for that. Also, it's got an integrated battery. Now, some people do like this and actually prefer the look because it can be quite hard to tell if the bike itself is actually electric. So that is a con in a way. But in terms of being able to charge it easily enough, I mean, because the battery is integrated into the bike, it means that you just need to be able to get the bike next to a plug, which means you need to bring your bike indoors, you need to bring your bike to somewhere where you are able to charge it, not just the battery itself. And also being able to take the battery with you is also quite good if you need to lock it up in public, because that's the really important thing that thieves will want to have if they're going to nick an electric bike. Another one, actually, which I've had to get used to, is having to change the assist by taking your hand completely off the handlebar and putting it down to where the fingerprint touches. So if you're not particularly great with balance, if you're not a massively confident rider, then this might be a bit of an issue for you. I've certainly gotten used to it and I'm a lot better at it than I initially was. So yeah, just need to get good at riding one-handed just for a short while. And also the light on the dash, it's not particularly bright, as I mentioned earlier, so it can be hard, particularly on a sunny day, to see what colour it's saying to know your battery level and also what assist you're in. But generally speaking, you just kind of adjust the assist, you know where you like it. If you've got the watch on, the watch tells you, albeit the watch can be a little bit dim as well. So I would say, Fiido, if you're going to change anything, just up the brightness. Speaking of which, the app, the watch, it's okay. Could be better, but it's okay. But the bike itself, oh my goodness. I've really enjoyed this bike because firstly, it's really lightweight, really easy to carry. So if you're somebody that lives up lots of stairs, this is a great bike for you. It's got a carbon belt drive, so it's very low maintenance. But again, that could also be a negative for anybody who wants gearing because this is a single speed. So whether or not you want a carbon belt drive, single speed, or if you prefer gears and a chain, that is up to you. It just looks really good. When it came out the box, there was such a wow factor to it and just no cables whatsoever. It's so clean, it's so minimalist. the torque is a little bit lower than what maybe it could be compared to other bikes. 35 Newton meters is definitely on the slightly lower end. You really don't notice it. The assist still feels really punchy and really smooth. I will also say a con that I didn't mention. For me personally, I just kind of wish the range was a bit more. I mean, my commute itself is 10 miles one way. I'd have to charge this bike after a day of commuting, which is a shame. But if you're somebody that has shorter commutes, then this bike could work really nicely as well, so you don't have to charge it up so much. But anyway, that is enough from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned a lot about this bike. If you have, please do give me a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Can you be persuaded? Is this something that you might look into a bit more? Or maybe not, let me know. If you're new here as well, please hit that subscribe button and I'll see you for the next one.